So again, my name is Shane Johnson. As I mentioned, I proudly serve as the director of the Honors College at Miami Dade College North Campus. And I'm here to share with you some factors affecting Black male student success in a two-year college institution. But prior to that, I want to get to know a little bit more about everyone in the room. So we're going to do a quick icebreaker. I know we only have 45 minutes for our session today, but I'll share my contact information at the tail end of my presentation, and please feel free to reach out to me directly should you feel that we can partner and continue to work on some of the items that I'm presenting. So if you would kindly turn on your microphones, and if you feel comfortable, you can also turn on your camera so we can get to know each other a little bit more. And you're just going to say your name, your current position, and what you feel is the main factor of a college student's success. So I have our agenda here, but I can go in order. If Miss Anna Aguila, if you would like to get started.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Okay.
we can.
I work at the SAC at FIU as a peer tutor. And I feel one of the main factors of a college student's success, well, I think there are multiple things, but one of them is accessibility to resources.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone would like to go next? Okay, Ms. Tulloch, I'll just go in order.
Okay, no problem. Hello, everyone. My name is Arian Tella. I work at North Campus as the writing coach there. And I think one of the main factors involved in college student success is support, having a good support system.
Thank you. And Mr. Calvo, and I apologize if I mispronounce any names.
Hello, my name is Armando Calvo. I'm a physical therapy tutor at the medical campus. And I feel one of the main factors college students need for success is adaptability.
Thank you, Mr. Calvo. And Mr. Green? I think Mr. Green may be experiencing some technical difficulties, but we can circle back to you, Mr. Green, should your technology not be working, or you can post your response in the chat. Mr. Mohammed Abdullah?
Good morning, everyone. This is Jahan.
I apologize.
And I think one of the main factors contributing to student success is knowledge. And what I mean by that is knowing how to navigate the college experience, where you can find resources, maybe how you can get around certain things, or what advantages you can take that are available to students, you know, sort of like, I guess, what you would call the hidden secrets. So I think knowledge is one of the main factors of success.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. And Ms. Fagel? Ms. Fagel may be having some technical difficulties. Ms. Lucas?
Yes, my name is Virgil Lucas.
I apologize. My apologies.
I'm an associate instructor at Walson Campus, Math Lab. I think what can contribute to student success would be for them to have access to all the resources that we have, and then be there and attend classes, and that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Servias or Ms. Rivas?
Hi, I'm Zelda Rivas. I'm a reading, writing, and speech tutor at the Padron campus. And what I think is important for success for students is that they reach out. Because a lot of times students come on campus, especially for the first time, and they're just completely lost. So students have to reach out. They have to seek help because you can't make it alone in college. So whether it be with other college students, people of importance, you just have to reach out. You have to seek help. And those students who do that, they're usually pretty successful.
Thank you. Thank you all for your introductions. Nice to meet you virtually. And I know we have Mr. Green with his comments, and please feel free to continue to post any comments in the chat box as well as we continue today's presentation. But you all are right. Those are some of the elements that are, for any student, help them accomplish the goals that they set out for themselves. As they embark on this journey, as they make decisions to come to college, these are all factors that help them become successful at our institutions or institutions across the country. So as we explore today's presentation, you'll learn firsthand from a research project that I did this current semester for this fall 2020 semester and some of my findings. And then naturally you'll see what the students reported on more, in my opinion, more importantly, about what matters to them, what helps them succeed. So for our agenda, I'll do a brief overview of the research, some of my research questions, the current status of Black enrollment at NDC. I did a discovery and preparation for my research, and of course, we'll follow and finish with a reflection. At the end of our conversation, I hope we can continue our dialogue and make some correlations as it relates to general success for any student. But then in addition, what are some tailored elements that we need to take into consideration as it relates to Black males? So I hope you enjoy, and please feel free, should you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post in the chat as I continue the presentation today. So my leadership project, the overview and the research was to pinpoint factors of self-efficacy and motivations affecting Black male students more specifically in a 2-year setting. I embarked on this journey by using a myriad of surveys and interviews and different tools, Qualtrics tools, as we're all familiar, reporting tools to obtain and ask questions that would allow me to further, I guess, digest and understand how to support our Black male students at a 2-year institution. And what leads to Black male students' academic achievement, personal development, retention, and of course, as we all hope for, degree completion. Some of the metrics that the state are using, how do we find equity to make sure that our Black male students are being serviced appropriately and have all the options available to them to succeed at our college, or at college in general. So some of the research questions that I wanted to pose are: what leads to Black college academic achievement, personal retention and development, and degree completion? What are the perceptions of current or former Black male students regarding reasons for joining or remaining in or leaving an institution? The third item was: what opportunities are afforded to Black students for success? So that was a key element of my research. And then finally, what could institution leaders offer to help increase retention rates of Black male students? And towards that tail end of today's presentation, you'll be happy to learn about some of the great initiatives that Miami-Dade College has continued to do and will continue to do to support these efforts. So just a basic overview of for this current term, Black student enrollment, dating back to 2019, according to MDC Strategy and Institutional Effectiveness reports, during that 2019 academic year, Black or African American students accounted for nearly 1 out of every 6.5 MDC students. So that's a number to really consider. And as you'll learn later from some of our Miami-Dade County data, that's something that we need to really look into as an institution on where our current Black and brown or Black students more specifically are as it relates to our college. Where are they enrolling? Black African American students are slightly, as I mentioned, under-enrolled and underrepresented at MDC compared to the overall county population. And then, of course, we are unfortunately um, still seeing some enrollment declines, and typically enrollments decrease faster pace for the population of Black American students college-wide. So that's something that I wanted to look and dive a little bit deeper in. What are the causes of that decline in enrollment? So first, discovery is defining the problem. So I had to, identify those gaps due to those decreases in enrollment for Black male students. I got initial help and support through also institutional research, obtaining a list of those students, surveyed them, as I mentioned before. And as you'll find from the next slide, I try to contact over 2,000 currently enrolled Black students, Black non-Hispanic students, Black males, for the fall 2020 term. So for this current fall term, we had over 2,300 Black male students enrolled college-wide. Now that's a number that may be shocking to some. I know initially it was shocking to me as it relates to the total enrollment for the current term. I did send out a survey and asked those students to participate. And unfortunately, given time periods and, with surveys in general, only 81 students out of the 2,000 plus students that I reached out to, 81 requested to participate in my research. And out of that 81, 57 of those students actually signed a consent form to complete a survey. And out of that, 33 actually completed the Qual 6 survey. So I will say this, as it relates to some validity, components, and take it with a grain of salt, but we did find some really eye-opening feedback and eye-opening findings from my research that will certainly help as we continue to explore as a college how to obtain more responses from our students. As I should mention, this was a personal project that I worked on. So of course we had support throughout the college, but with more college-wide and institutional support in the future, as we plan to do as a college, I think those numbers will increase and we'll get more data that we can use in the near future. So out of the population of responses, the average age of the Black male student at MDC who completed this survey was actually 26, with the youngest person who completed being 17 and the oldest person being 56 years of age. So, I wanted to provide a framework as we go through the next couple slides, as it relates to who is responding to this survey. And I'll share a short story once I advance the slide to provide some perspective of some of the needs that you all have identified to make students successful, and how that came up in the first conversation that I had with one of these students. So original college enrollment, 82% started at MDC. So their first experience in college, 82% of those respondents were at MDC, which is a really great number as well. 18% started elsewhere. So 18% may have started at a local college, one of our colleges in our community, or elsewhere. The next question I wanted to identify to provide more perspective of factors affecting student success of these students was dual enrollment. So we know from the bucket of college enrollment, there's an element of dual enrollment. So when I asked the question to these students, any of you participate in dual enrollment, 43% completed dual enrollment courses prior to MDC enrollment, and 57% did not complete dual enrollment prior to MDC. So those numbers are going to be important as well, because as we analyze this, we know there is an increase of dual enrollment participation from students at an earlier stage. I know in Miami-Dade we currently have students as young as seventh grade, eighth grade participating in college-related classes, SLS classes, and starting to earn credit. So how does those experiences look for those students? So those are all other elements that we need to evaluate. And then finally, semesters enrolled at MDC. So an average for this Black male student cohort, you've seen an average of 6.68 semesters spent at the college. Minimum, of course, are new incoming students, with a maximum of the student who's been here the longest has been here for 20 semesters now. Again, from this total population, you had students who were completing associate certificates, bachelor's degrees. So I also needed to inform you about that as well. So let's dive a little bit deeper into some of the responses that I collected, and I'll go over this quickly so we can have some more room for dialogue towards the tail end. But when I asked these students to rate their experiences in college as a Black male student, and if they knew about the various resources in and around campus, some that were mentioned prior to our conversation, and excuse me, I know some of the slides may be a little bit challenging to see, but if you can see from the image that is on your screen, a lot of our students are aware of the support services in and around our campuses. So I know the colors, it's kind of hard to match all the colors, but anything from admissions and registration is high on their list. Anything from the bookstore, tutoring and academic services. So these are all options and opportunities for our students, and they are claiming that they know about these services. So as I advance the slide, then I ask, how often did you use these services? So this is where it gets a little bit, it gives us all an opportunity to look a little bit deeper on how we can continue to support our students. So from the findings, they may know about our services, but a lot of them aren't using our services. If you look at the bottom of the slide there, it says students I asked, if so, if you've used our services, how many times have you used it? 2 or more times. So if you look at some of those blue options, you'll see that you have high marks possibly for admissions, financial aid, or student life. So our students are utilizing those services. International student education or academic advising, these are high touch points. So that also led me to think, if these are sticky areas in and around a college of how we can better support our students, this is where we are. How can we meet them where they are to continue to interweave some of the services that they never used before? Exactly, we need to be better at motivating our students to use our services. So if we know as an institution or as persons that we have a high activity area for our Black male students, for example's sake, in our admissions registration offices, our financial aid offices, and student life, how can we meet them where they are to provide those other services that are important to their success? So as I advance to the next slide, then I followed up the question by asking, how satisfied were you with those services? So I will say that a lot of them, didn't reply or it wasn't applicable. But as you can see, a lot of them are extremely satisfied when they use said service. So that's kudos, and I think there's a high mark, which is obviously a tribute to the great work that our colleagues are doing for library and learning support services. So kudos to all my colleagues, for in learning resources as well for your great work. So thank you for that. So again, but knowing this information, they're satisfied with those levels of learning resources and also academic advisement, career services. How can we meet them where they are and provide those other additional services to make sure they're successful here at our college or any other college across our country? So then the next question I asked our students was to rate their experience with the professors as Black male students. Now, As you can see, it's a pretty much a gamut of responses. So I'm not gonna, dive too deep into this, but for the most part, our students feel connected. They feel that they can get the help that they need, and the professors are helping them towards their professional goals. Some of them they feel welcome, and I tried to phrase our questions in a positive light. I wanted the survey to serve for the purpose of identifying what we're doing and how we can build upon that. I know at times, where we're collecting data and really analyzing how we can continue to support, or if we're doing focus groups, we try to ask the question, what are we doing wrong and how can we improve? But I try to phrase these questions and statements of what are we doing right, and what do you like about your experiences, and how can we build on that? And you'll find through that was the way that I phrased those questions was extremely important to helping me advance and really dive and figure out how we can continue to help students become successful and continue to be successful at our college. Rating staff and administration, similar responses. For by and large, they are extremely happy and strongly agree that we've explained the student support services and we're helping them feel welcome, and we learn their name. But obviously, as you can see, there are some items that, of course, we need to work on. So they're telling us what will help them be successful. So this is what this report is saying. So I hope that provided some framework. I think these next couple slides, 4 slides or so, are extremely rich to painting the best picture of what has worked for our students. So when I asked a question and I gave them the opportunity to provide a more in-depth and detailed response. So the first question, one of the questions I asked was, the very first time you came to campus, who made you feel welcome? What made you feel welcome? And where did you feel welcome? Interestingly enough, when they first came to campus, as you can see from the first quote on the screen there, it was during the new student orientation. I felt very welcomed by staff. They helped me select my class and provided studies-based information, financial aid, access programs, and many other, great opportunities. Another comment, the first time I came to campus, I knew on my high school, I knew only my high school friend. Besides that, I knew no one. And the student continued by saying there was no one there to welcome me in regards to staff or administrators. As I expected on that first day, college isn't always going to be your first day or primary school, but as soon as I had my convocation and I gave myself a tour around campus, I found clubs, organizations, they welcomed me. Examples, TRIO, Minorities of the Future, Caribbean Students Association. So for this Black male student, he didn't initially feel welcomed by the college community, but those clubs, organizations, and the convocation helped provide a sense of warmth and welcome to him as being a Black man, finding his identity on our campus. And continuing on, unfortunately, we had some comments. I never felt welcome, attitudes were all over the place, or nothing made me feel welcome. So as you can see from these responses, these all affect how our students are successful. If you never felt welcome, let's say going into your favorite store, or if you never felt welcome the first time going into, I don't know, I'm gonna use Mrs. Johnson, my wife, her favorite store is Target. If she never felt welcome going into Target, and maybe this would have worked in my benefit, but all jokes aside, if she never felt welcome going into Target, she may have never gone back. So what can we do as an institution to help all students, but more importantly here, Black students really succeed and feel a sense of identity and welcome? As you can see here, maybe it is some organizations like Minorities of the Future, TRIO Support Services, Caribbean Student Association, or Library Support Services that we can provide more resources to continue the great work. The study spaces from our learning resource centers. This is a hot topic for the student. How can we meet them where they are? What other additional services can we provide within our spaces wraparound service can we provide to these students in these spaces to be able to make them feel welcome, and the students that are falling behind them feel welcome as well. So I do see a comment. This was a crucial question to ask, Dr. Johnson. I did not know that many students felt this way. Exactly. Thank you for your comments. So you're right. So we want to also, I know some of the comments may be a little bit of a challenge to see and understand, and really, to me at times it just felt a little bit as a person, but an administrator and as a just a member of this community, I kind of felt like, wow, what else can we do? But they're telling us, so that's the beauty of it. The student voice is the one that we need to listen to be able to design the programs. As we know, we're great within our roles and our professions. We're excellent workers, colleagues, and college administrators, so on and so forth. But our student voice is really what we need to pay close attention to, because they will help us provide the services that they are requesting of us. We can build programs out till we're blue in the face, for lack of better words. But if we don't have that student element, we're really missing out on great opportunities to make great strides and providing them ways to be successful. So thank you for your comments. So I continue on by saying, thinking of a person on campus that helped you become successful, how specifically did they help you in your path to success? So one of the comments, as you can read, the person has helped me in planning my prerequisites, pathways for my career future. This is a great head start in my career journey. So this student felt that direct connection. They patiently guided me with all my questions and concerns. So some of the elements that we all discussed that helps any student be successful, our students are saying that's what helped them on their path and journey to being successful here at the college. And then another additional comment says, a person on campus that helped me in being successful was a friend from high school. We were both in the band. This person helped me by providing me ideas, insights I can use. He also contributed by giving me confidence to choose my major in computer science. So I know you feel the same way. This student is possibly telling us, hey, you maybe need to look into other students and how they're having these great experiences and how they're passing down this information as a mentor. So some of the items that will have come from this or could come from this is building out, and as we're in discussions, building out a more in-depth mentoring program or more resources to help these students feel that they can provide cross-level supports throughout all of our campuses. And then the last comment says, no one helped me become successful. And then the next two items goes over what college experiences have made you feel valued and appreciated. So as you can see the context of the question, at the end of the year, a letter from one of the campus presidents, a letter of excellence from the campus president make them feel valued and appreciated. Now, if a student feels valued, appreciated, that is a contributor to their overall success. Those services that we identified and that you mentioned on the onset of our presentation and what main factors are key to student success, those all add up to making sure that the students feel valued and appreciated, but ultimately making sure that they're successful at our college. Another comment mentions conversations with the classmates, professors have made me feel valued. Walking my classmates to their destinations has helped me build friendships and so on. And unfortunately, some of our students don't feel valued, or there are certain events held on campus that really help them feel that sense of pride and value within themselves. And then finally, this is the $1 million question in my opinion. Why would you recommend this college to other Black males? So this, naturally, we're going to find possibly some items that are proponents of their success, Black male success in institutions, to your institutions. I would recommend this college to other Black males because there are many opportunities on campus that they can benefit from. It is a college that prepares students to be educationally independent before and after graduation. So just circling back to some of the main points that you're discussing at the onset, these are all factors of Black male student success and why and how we're able to attain and help recruit additional students to have these experiences. I'll read the next comment. I think Miami-Dade College has great opportunities for Black males. The classes are much cheaper, smaller than, let's say, a local institution, and that really helps students save money. Since they're smaller class sizes, student professors feel more personal connection in the classroom. The classes are not too big, which makes getting classes and getting from classes, cafeteria, financially offices really easy. There are plenty of clubs, organizations. Again, you're seeing minorities of the future come to up to light. There are great spaces for Black men to let their experience be heard and valued while working together with our peers to promote positive changes and attitudes that empower Black men to be the best they can be. Very inspiring word from our students. This is how they're being successful, and this is why they would recommend it to other students so they can have that same level of success. I'll continue on by stating some of the other comments I would not recommend due to administration aspects. Simplest question, it is like they want to see you again. So the student essentially is teasing out some elements of maybe some being overburdened or overwhelmed with just support, it may seem. And then honestly, I would not, students' comments feels that the school unfortunately caters to a Hispanic population, although not everyone is like that, enough to make you feel that you're not wanted here. So these are all elements that are contributing, but also maybe we need to look into to evaluate ways to continue to provide wraparound services to all students. So before I turn it back over for a greater discussion, as you can see through the research, it really pinpointed factors of the self-efficacy and motivating affecting Black male student success. Through all the collection of data and through all the support from institutional programs, as you can see, we have some work to do to continue to provide academic and personal development and help retain and help our students complete their degrees. I know the college, I don't know if many of you know this, but the college has a college-wide committee, a racial justice and equity committee that are looking into said items and finding more additional ways to support Black students across our campuses. So, being a part of that committee, I generally look forward to ways to continue these conversations, to collect more data, to make our points valid, to make my points valid, and reanalyzing those findings. I will share this before I move forward with opening the room to you. During my first conversation or during the initial stages of this research, I had a young man reach out to me and say, "Hi, Dr. Johnson, thank you for this, opportunity to participate in research." And he said via email, this was our semester started September 1 of this year. I believe this was the first week of class, probably September 3rd, if my memory serves me correctly. He's like, I currently just got dropped from my classes and I don't know what to do. I'm just trying to get enrolled in classes. So of course I put aside this, research because I'm focusing on the students like all of us would do. And I simply asked him, how can I help you get enrolled? He said, it seems like I'm having problems with some elements throughout the institution and I just need some additional support. So a quick call to some colleagues helped resolve the student issue and really helped him get in as a full-time student, and he was paying out of pocket for his classes. So just taking the time, and I know we do this with all our students, is an extremely helpful factor, taking the time out of your day to listen and engage as we all continue to do. Listen and engage with our students, listen to what their needs are, not seeing them as just a number, seeing them as a person. I know you saw some of the comments earlier. What made you feel welcome? Did this person know your name? What resources are available to you? Those are all key elements and factors And our students are telling us those are the needs and making sure that they're successful at our institution. So I know we do it all in our everyday lives in our respective roles. So I want to take a moment to celebrate us all for that work. But please note, it's going to take this village and our community to continue to support our Black male students, because the status of our our world and our environments, they from other levels of this research, they don't feel at times that they have those levels of support, or they may not know where to go for that additional level of support. So providing these wraparound services, providing ways for them to engage, providing a welcoming environment, all help our students succeed, and all our factors of making sure our students are successful at our two-year institution, primarily two-year institution. So I wanted to open up the floor, and I'll stop sharing my screen here, to any questions. And sorry, I know you're seeing me probably in a really big screen now, but any questions that anyone has. And you can feel free to, I want to engage with you. So feel free to turn on your microphones and turn on your camera should you feel comfortable, and we can continue our dialogue. I think Ms. Tug, you have a question. I think your hand is up. You can go ahead.
But I saw that Brian had put something into the chat, so I didn't know if you wanted to do that first.
What I think is most important, so I'm gonna, if you don't mind, Brian, I'll read your comment. What I think is most important is that these Black students have other Black male role models that work within the institution that they can identify with immediately. This in itself is motivating and welcoming and inviting factor to engage. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yes, you're right. And to that to that statement, I had a young man approach me early on in the semester, and he's working to develop, and to your point, Brandon, I think it's student-led initiatives with our support, right? So he's working to develop a student mentoring program for other Black students across our campuses. So it's in its infancy stages, but persons like me, anyone can help support this student by just, for him, his eyes lit up like, Dr. Johnson, you're helping to support this? You think it's a good, I'm like, yes. But what can we do to help you, and how could you continue to advance, and how are we going to sustain this? Because this young man is going to be graduating next year. He's already putting it to work, and he's already getting involved and engaged with his community. So I'm proud of that. But you're right, having those role models are important as well. But also, in addition to that, from the comments that I've heard, is seeing other persons or engaging with other persons across our campus that may look like them, and as well. So I know that's another initiative that the college is considering as well. Like, how can we have more guest speakers, or how can we have more interactions with students across our campus? We have 8 campuses. As you all know, we're one of the largest college institutions in the nation, right? So if we have a group of students, for example, say doing great work down at our Homestead campus, and they're highly engaged and highly involved, how can we help support them doing some college-wide initiatives, albeit virtually now due to the pandemic? So yes, I agree with you, Brian, and thank you for your comments. Any other questions? Okay.
I was going to say something, unless other people wanted to chime in.
Go ahead.
So I really like that example that you gave us about the student who sent you an email and how you responded to that. And it reminded me of something that happened yesterday, where a security officer sort of deposited a student in front of me, and the student needed help with financial aid. She spoke Creole, and I don't speak it or understand it, so I didn't quite understand what she meant. And I thought, well, I have 2 options. I can send the student elsewhere, or plow through it and try to help her. So I got on the phone and made some calls to people from financial aid. Finally got someone who was able to speak Creole, put the student on the phone with that person, and that person told her what it is that she needed. Turned out that she needed to fill out a FAFSA form. So I had her in the lab and we filled out the FAFSA form, and she was competent enough to read it and fill it out herself, but it seemed as if she felt more comfortable with a bit of hand holding. So like my checking in on her, you know, every 5 or 10 minutes or so, or just being around to answer any questions that she might have. And so I just thought about sometimes like how going the extra mile really is appreciated, because we could have lost her had I sent her to someone else, or had I said, well, you know what, I don't really, this is out of my purview. And so I just wanted to thank you for sharing that story with us.
Yes, thank you, and you're right. It's really taking a minute to just actively listen and hear the concerns and identifying ways to continue to support them as best as we all can. I did want to share this. I know we have a couple more minutes left, but I did give the students the opportunity, and I asked them a question. If they were given $1,000 to improve the college, how would they use it? And I'll read some of the comments. If I were given $10,000 to improve the college, I would start an institute that promotes, educates, advocates, and uplifts Black people in the college, like the Earth Ethics Institute. So I think they're speaking on that framework, and the Institute of Civic Engagement and Democracy. This institute would be an umbrella of different resources and opportunities for people of color. This is from our students. Our students are telling us what would make them and what services would help them become more successful. So I think we're all right. I think it's as we identify now, and I know we're winding down on time, and thank you all for your comments. But they're telling us, and again, I look forward and I appreciate your work that you're doing in learning resources and engaging in the work, because you are key points and key members of this equation as you are making direct connections with our students. So I thank you for your continued dedication to student success and servicing students. And I know as we all explore ways to continue to change the way we work and the way we provide services to our students, this is one small step, for lack of better words, of how we can get to that point. So thank you so much for your time. And if we don't have any other questions, I want to kick it back over to Mr. Sanchez for any other remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for this great presentation. I've added the link to the main session for everyone to return to the main session. We will be adding Dr. Johnson's presentation to the library guide if you'd like to take a look at that information in more detail. But again, Dr. Johnson, thank you so much for your presentation today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all, and I hope you have a great holiday as well.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. It was great.
Thank you.